Hello guys, and welcome to another video, and Nintendo just announced that the Bear and the Bird will finally be making their full return to a Nintendo console in just a couple days, because Banjo-Kazooie is going to be added to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack Nintendo 64 library. Okay, so here are my thoughts on it. Even though I'm pretty critical of the service overall, because I feel like there's a lot of problems with it, and it still isn't worth it. Whatever game they'll add to it, to like Nintendo 64, I don't care if it's the Japanese version of the original Animal Crossing. It's still not worth it. And like, I really don't like the service of the subscription model and everything, because you have to keep paying for it, and you really aren't owning the games, and the emulation is not too good. But overall, I'm pretty excited for Banjo-Kazooie actually returning to a Nintendo console, and it kind of gives me a lot of hope for the relationship between Nintendo and Microsoft and actually bringing back, like, Banjo-Kazooie and everything. Because I feel like this might be the start of something. I mean, even though it's kind of held back by a lot of those issues from the service and everything, it's still really nice to be able to play the original Banjo-Kazooie on a Nintendo console, finally. And I really hope they kind of do more with Banjo-Kazooie on the Switch other than this. Like, I mean, they had Banjo and Smash back in 2019, and I would have never thought they would have put the original game on the Switch, like, through any service or anything. So I think that's really interesting that they actually collaborated with Microsoft for Nintendo Switch Online, and I feel like we could potentially be getting Banjo-Tooie also on the service. So beyond that, I'm not sure exactly what could happen, because I think a rare replay or whatever that was called is kind of like rolled out now since we have Banjo-Kazooie and possibly other rare games coming to the Nintendo 64 Online and everything, so I feel like that's kind of not really gonna happen, but there's a possibility that Banjo-Kazooie could actually come back in the future, and they might even release it like on a Nintendo console. I mean, that's pretty far-fetched, but I think it's really nice that we're finally getting Banjo-Kazooie back. And I am a little concerned about, like, the Nintendo 64 Online thing and everything. Like, Paper Mario, I mean, despite, like, a lot of the glitches, it ran decently, but it did have a lot of problems, like I said. Like, there were a lot of, like, glitches that led to the game crashing, because I feel like it was partially due to how the game works and how it was emulated. So I think, like, Paper Mario usually has a lot of problems with emulation, so I'm not sure exactly how Banjo-Kazooie is with emulation, but I really hope they do fix some of the problems. Like, they do have an update coming up, like, since Banjo-Kazooie is going to be added along with an update for the Nintendo 64 library, I really hope they address a lot of these issues and actually listen to people's feedback, because I really hope people address this on, like, Nintendo support, because they tend to usually fix bugs and stuff like that. So even though the service really isn't worth it overall, it would be nice to have some feedback, like some fixing for this. Like, I think it's kind of unlikely that they'll actually put in proper button mapping, because Nintendo seems to be pretty weird about stuff like that. Even though they had it on the Virtual Console one, I do think it's kind of unlikely that they're going to add it in, unfortunately. Like, it would be really nice if they did. I really hope they do that, because, I mean, it's really stupid that they don't have, like, the options for button mapping, but I really hope they actually listen to the feedback and add it. But just overall, despite my criticisms, I'm still excited to play Banjo-Kazooie on the Switch. I hope it works out, because this is pretty big. I mean, like, I really don't think they should really mess something up like Banjo-Kazooie actually going to be on, like, the Switch and everything. I really think that's a pretty big thing happening, since it's, like, a series that was bought out by Microsoft and hasn't been on a Nintendo console in 2 decades. So I really hope they don't mess this up, because this is, like, probably the biggest Nintendo Switch Online release out of, like, all of the other kind of, like, games that were on the Nintendo 64, SNES, Genesis, and NES. So I really hope this works out, and I really hope it's at least a decent port of Banjo-Kazooie running on the Nintendo Switch and everything. And it's just really nice to see that Banjo-Kazooie are back on the Switch fully. Like, it started out through that Banjo and Smash and everything back in 2019, but I feel like it's kind of progressing even farther with Banjo-Kazooie actually coming to the Switch. So I think that's really cool and really nice to see. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.